All right, let's see here. Before I start, let me see how I can get rid of this. Oh no. Okay, we are in this English class. We're going to read this short story, which is the Curse of the Bells Rectory. Let me get rid of this. Oh gosh, I'm off to a bad start. Okay, let's see. Let's zoom in on this here. Okay, uh, now this is really for intermediate to advanced level vocabulary learners. But don't worry if you're not intermediate or advanced, because after each paragraph, I'm going to say in simpler words what the paragraph said. So you probably won't understand all of the words in the story. That's okay. We'll explain each paragraph as we go. Okay, so let's see. Uh, Now, sometimes we'll encounter some interesting words or phrases in this story that I will want to focus on because they will be useful for you to use in regular everyday situations in your life. So when we get to a word or a phrase that's very useful, we will practice it. We will do a speaking and listening exercise to improve your listening comprehension, to improve your fluency, and to improve your accuracy. So sometimes we'll read, we'll stop, we'll do a little exercise for speaking and listening and accuracy, and then we'll continue with the story. Okay, let's see here. So let's get started with the Curse of the Bells Rectory. Now, a rectory, that's the title. Let's zoom in on the title here. The Curse of the Bells Rectory. A rectory is a home provided by the church for the priest or the minister, whoever is in charge of the church lives in the rectory. And a curse is kind of a magical thing. It's something bad. So if there's a curse on the house, let's see. I'm sorry, I'm having technical difficulties already today. Hopefully this gets better. Okay, so a curse is something, or bad things are connected with the house. So if you live there, bad things will happen to you. If you visit there, bad things will happen to you. It's like a magic thing. So when something is cursed, that's bad. All right, so let's see. Let's read the first paragraph of The Curse of Bells Rectory. Kevin Clyde stepped off the noon train at the small English village. He was conscious of the curious stares of the small group of villagers hanging around the station, gossiping. But he knew what his purpose was, and their glances didn't bother him. He strode purposely toward the center of the main street until he found the shop he was looking for. So let's talk about this paragraph in a simpler form. Kevin Clyde is on a train and he arrives in a small English village. When he exits the train, there are people from the village looking at him strangely. That happens when you go to small towns. If you're a stranger, people are looking at you, suspicious of you because you're a stranger and they don't know you. They talk about you. So he feels uncomfortable when he leaves the train. But he doesn't care. He is there for a particular store and he goes directly to that store, ignoring the villagers who are looking at him and talking about him. Now, there are several interesting words in this paragraph, but the word that I would like to focus on, which would probably be the most useful, is the phrasal verb to hang around. Now, you might be familiar with the phrasal verb to hang out, which is a way of talking about socializing. You hang out with your friends. That means you go somewhere with your friends and you socialize with them. Hanging around is a little bit different. Hanging around is when you stay somewhere and you have no purpose, you have nothing to do there. When you hang around, you're staying in the place even though you have no reason to be there. Let's make a sentence using hang around, and let's practice using this phrasal verb for a minute. Oh, but let me put it up here too. Let's see, where is it? Hang around. So that's our first phrasal verb for today. Here's a situation. John is very bored on the weekends. He has nothing to do. So he goes to the shopping mall. He doesn't plan to buy anything. He just likes to walk in and look at the different things, look at the stores. He likes to waste his time, several hours, just being at the mall. So we can say all of that by using the phrasal verb hang around. He hangs around at the mall. Then we understand he's just there. He has no purpose, no point. He's just there wasting time. So here's our sentence. He hangs around at the mall. Let's make a when question with that sentence. He hangs around at the mall. How will you make a when question? When? When does he? When does he? When does he? When does he hang around? When does he hang around? When does he hang around at the mall? When does he hang around at the mall? Okay, let's answer on the weekends. He hangs around. He hangs around at the mall. He hangs around at the mall on the weekends. Now let's make a why question. Why? Why does he? Why does he? Why does he? Why does he hang around? Why does he hang around? Why does he hang around? Why does he hang around at the mall on weekends? Why does he hang around at the mall on weekends? Here is the reason. He has nothing else to do. He has nothing else to do. He hangs around. He hangs around at the mall. He hangs around at the mall on the weekends because he has nothing else to do. He hangs around at the mall on the weekends because he's nothing else to do. Okay, let's try another situation. At night, Lisa goes to a popular bar where there are many young people like herself. She doesn't go for any particular reason. She's just bored, although maybe she hopes that she can find a boyfriend. How can we say that Lucy goes to a popular bar, but for no special reason? She doesn't plan to do anything there. Maybe something will happen, but that's not part of her plan. She hangs around. She hangs around the popular bar. She hangs around the popular bar. Let's make a when question. When? When does she? When does she? When does she hang around? When does she hang around the popular bar? And the answer is at night. She hangs around the bar at night. Let's make a why question. That sounds like a bad idea, hanging around a bar at night. Okay, well, let's make a why question anyway. Why? Why does she? Why does she? Why does she hang around? Why does she hang around the bar at night? Why does she hang around the bar at night? And the reason is she hopes to find a boyfriend. Bad idea. She hangs around the bar. She hangs around the bar at night. She hangs around the bar at night because she hopes to meet a boyfriend. She hopes to find a boyfriend. Okay. Now the difference between saying she goes to the bar at night because she hopes to find a boyfriend and she hangs around the bar at night because she hopes to find a boyfriend is if you say she goes, it sounds like she really has the intention. She's looking for a boyfriend. But if you say she hangs around, it sounds more like she doesn't care, but maybe it will happen and that would be great. And that's the difference between saying she goes and she hangs around in this situation. Okay, let's continue reading the next few paragraphs. But let me take off, hang around before I forget. Okay. As he entered, the the bell clanged his arrival. The merchant looked up and said, "Good day, sir," cheerfully. "What can I do for you?" Now, we won't spend much time with this word clang, but clang is a verb and it is the sound of two metal things hitting each other. So it's the sound of metal. It's the sound that metallic things make when they hit each other. So the bell clanged when you go into the old shop and you open the door. That sometimes there's a bell above the door, ding ding, and so that's a clang sound. That's two metal things hitting each other, making a sound. Okay, where did we stop? Okay, briefly, Clyde outlined his needs. As he did so, the dealer's eyes narrowed with curiosity. So Clyde is telling him what he wants, and the dealer becomes suspicious. His eyes, you have broad, which is like this, and narrow is like this. So when his eyes narrow, it's because he's suspicious. Why does he want these things? These are very strange items. So he's becoming suspicious, and his eyes narrowed. What do you want? Okay, let's see. But he looked again at Clyde, and something about the other's face forbade him questioning. So he wanted to ask the customer, "Why do you want these things?" But he could see that it would be a bad idea to ask him. Let me see, I've got to kind of want to have this up here on the screen. Oh. Okay. So let's see. Slowly, he pulled the merchandise forward and piled it on the countertop. A stout rope. So stout, that means like strong. A strong rope. That's suspicious. Why do somebody wants to buy a rope? A shovel. All right. Just in case you don't know what these things are, you probably do, but we'll just take a look really quickly here at what we've got. So this, for example, is rope. That's rope. So he wants to buy a rope. What else? He wants to buy a shovel. Here's a shovel. What is he going to do? Why does he want a rope and a shovel? That's pretty suspicious. And then what is the next item? Let's see. Where am I? Let's see. We have a stout rope, a strong rope, a shovel, and where are we? Sorry, I went to go show you these pictures and then I lost my place. Okay. A gunny sack and pumping equipment. So a gunny sack, that's not really something you have to know. You'll never see that phrase again in your life. But so this is a gunny sack. Just so we get an idea of what he's asking for at this shop. So he wants a rope, strong rope, not just any kind of rope, but strong rope. He wants a shovel, and he wants a sack, a bag like this. What's he going to do? And pumping equipment. So just in case you don't know what a pump is, let's just get that out of the way right now. So pump is something to move water or sometimes air from one place to another place. Okay. All right, let's go back and let's see. Fabian Perez says, hello, I'm here. Hi, Fabian. Thank you for watching. Okay, let's see. So, as you can see, these are very suspicious items that he's asking for. A strong rope, a gunny sack, and a shovel, and pumping equipment. So this suspicion was in the merchant's mind as to what his strange customer was up to. And then the other paid. He caught a glimpse of a small volume his customer carried. So in this paragraph, in this short paragraph, it is saying the merchant was very suspicious. Why does he want all of these items? And then we come to an interesting phrasal verb. Let me put this up here. To be up to something. To be up to something. And this is like, if you say, what are you up to? Wait, let me just read what I wrote instead of trying to improvise. It's like saying, what are you doing? Okay, so I can say, what are you doing? But I could also say, what are you up to? But there's a difference. Wait a minute. I thought I was broadcasting on a different channel, but it seems like it's not working. Okay, yeah, it is. All right. Okay. All right, just wanted to make sure. Okay, let's get back to this. So if you say, what are you up to? What are you doing? What are you doing? That's kind of a neutral question. What are you doing? But when you say, what are you up to? It's because you're suspicious of the person. You think they're doing something bad. They're trying to trick you. They're lying to you. What are you up to? So that means, what are you doing? But this extra idea of, I'm very suspicious of you. I'm not sure. What are your intentions? Let's practice using this phrasal verb, to be up to something. Here is a situation. Mark and John are planning a surprise party for Mary's birthday. They're sitting at a table making plans for the secret surprise party. Then Mary walks in, and they start hiding the papers, and they change the subject. They're acting very weird, very suspicious. So Mary wants to know, what are you doing? But instead of saying, what are you doing? She wants to ask it in a way that means, I know you're doing something bad. I know you're trying to trick me. I know you're lying somehow. What are you up to? What are you up to? That's how you would ask that. I know you're doing something bad, something tricky, some kind of deception. What are you up to? So we've got this, let's see, what are you up to? Let's change this into a reported speech situation. So let's add, she asked them, or she asked them. She asked them. She asked them, what are they up to? What are they up to? Now, because it's reported speech, we can't use a question. What are you up to? We have to change this back into a statement. So the direct question is, what are they up to? But we have to change this from a question to a statement. What they are up to. She asked them what they are up to. She asked them what they are up to. And because it's reported speech, and are is in the present, we should change that to the past. What they were. What they were up to. She asked them what they were up to. She asked them what they were up to. She asked them what they were up to. Now, let's make a why question with that sentence. She asked them what they were up to. Why? Why did she? Why did she ask them? Why did she ask him? Why did she ask him? Why did she ask him what they were up to? And the reason is because they were acting suspicious. They were acting suspicious. She asked them. She asked them. She asked them what they were up to. She asked them what they were up to because they were acting suspicious. She asked them what they were up to because they were acting suspicious. Okay, let's try another example. Little Johnny's mother made some cookies, and they were in the kitchen, and they smelled so delicious. But his mother said she didn't want him to eat any of the cookies. But little Johnny didn't care. He wanted to have some of those delicious cookies. So he went into the closet and he took a step stool. Let me show you a picture of a step stool. So little Johnny is very young. So he needs this. If he wants to get some cookies from the kitchen without his mother seeing, then he needs a step stool. And these are step stools. This is a step stool. So little Johnny went to the closet and he got a step stool. So his mother saw this and she wants to know, what are you doing? But she also thinks he's about to do something bad. So instead of saying, what are you doing? How would she ask that question to make it sound like, I know you're doing something you're not supposed to do? What are you up to? What are you up to? What is he up to? What is he up to? How would you make, let's make this into reported speech. She asked him, what is he up to? We have to change that into a sentence now. That's a question. What is he up to? Change it to a statement. What he is up to. What he is up to. She asked him what he is up to. What are you up to? She asked him what he is up to. Now, because this is reported speech, we should change the verb to be, which is in the present, into the past. What he was up to. She asked him what he was up to. She asked him what he was up to. She asked him what he was up to. Let's make a why question with that sentence. Why? Why did she? Why did she ask him? Why did she ask him? Why did she ask him what he was up to? What he was up to. Why did she ask him what he was up to? Why did she ask him what he was up to? And here's the reason. Because his behavior was very strange. She asked him what he was up to because his behavior was very strange. Okay. Well, let's keep going. Let's move on to the next paragraph. Let me get rid of this. Okay. But let's take a look at how they use it in the paragraph first. Okay, so this suspicion was in the merchant's mind as to what the strange customer was up to. So the customer says, I want to buy this strong rope and this shovel and the sack. And the merchant is wondering, what are you up to? Like, that's what are you doing, but also this idea of something, this is very strange behavior. Okay, that's a pretty useful phrase. What are you up to? Okay, let's see. Let's keep reading. Good Lord, man, the dealer exclaimed. You're not going after the treasure of Bell's rectory. There's a curse upon it, and those who try to seek it. All right, so there must be a treasure, some hidden money or something like that, at Bell's rectory. Remember, a rectory is the home provided by a church where a minister or a priest lives. So Bell's Rectory is the name of this home. And it seems there must be a treasure there, but the merchant says there is a curse on the treasure. Remember, a curse is like some kind of bad magic. So if you find the treasure, you might find a lot of gold or something like that, but because there's some bad magic on it, there's a curse. And that would be bad luck if you got that money. Something bad will happen to you if you touch this money. Clyde's face set in anger. He had hoped to carry out his project in secrecy, but he saw that it was impossible in this tiny village. So he didn't want people to know he was looking for the treasure, and he was angry that the merchant knew what he was doing, what he was up to. But then he realized in this such a small town, of course, it's impossible to have a secret. "I'll ask you to mind your own business," he snapped as he pushed his money across the counter. "Give me my change and I'll say good day." So he says, it's none of your business. Now give me my change so I can go. Silently, the dealer complied, and Kevin Clyde strode out of the store with his purchases. Now, I was hoping to ignore this word, strode, but it keeps appearing. Really, it's just the movement of your body as you walk. So let's just take a minute to look at some examples of striding. Oh, wait a minute. I lost my... Okay, there I am. I've got too many windows open, and I'm losing myself. Let's look at some strides. All right. Okay, so striding is just the movement of the body as you walk. This is a stride. And let's see. Can we find another stride? That was a good stride, the first one I was showing you. Oh, let's see. How about this? That's a stride. It's just the movement of your body when you're walking. That's all. It's not a terribly important word to know, but they keep using it in this story, so I think we have to talk about it for a minute. Okay. Okay, let me see. Whenever I look at a picture, I lose my place in the story. Sorry. Let me find it. So stride is the way in which you walk. Now it's an irregular verb, stride, strode, stridden. And, you can have a depressed stride. You can walk in a sad way. You can have a happy stride. You can walk in a happy way. That's all it means. Okay. So when they say Kevin Clyde strode out of the store with his purchases, we can kind of picture him moving his body as he walks out of this store. Okay, let's see. Once outside, Kevin Clyde easily located the spires of the ancient rectory. Fabian Perez asks, I know the word stride from the gym. Is it the same? And I never go to any gyms, but I imagine it's probably one of those machines where you walk. And maybe there are different settings, like you could run or you could jog. And stride maybe just means like a big walk. Is that pretty much what it means? I'm guessing, because I never use gym machinery, so I don't know. Okay, tell me in the comments if I'm accurate or if it's something else. All right, let's see. So once outside, Kevin easily located the spires of the ancient rectory. All right, well, we'll just take a minute to look at spires. spires are just part of the church. It's the top part of a church. So let's see. These are spires. It's the pointy part of the church. So probably it's something like this because he's in a. Oh, whoops. Let me move that over here. Probably something like this because he's in a small village, and this could be the church spire. Okay. As he headed towards his destination, as he walked towards Bell's rectory, he thought again what luck it had been that he'd stopped at the small bookstore in London to waste an hour between trains. He'd come across an old mildew account of Bell's rectory, and he had been particularly struck by the similarity between his name and that of the ancient bandit that the book told about. So in this paragraph, it's just saying that now he's walking towards the rectory where he believes the treasure is. And he's walking towards the rectory. As he's walking towards the rectory, he thinks about how lucky he is that he stopped at a bookstore and found a copy of an old book which tells about this treasure. And the bandit. Bandit is like a thief. And the bandit has the same name as him. Kevin Clyde. Okay. Now there's a pretty interesting verb in this paragraph, and that is the verb to head. Head somewhere. Let's put that up here. To head somewhere. And head is very similar to the verb go, but there is a little difference for when you might want to use the verb to head somewhere. And the difference between the two is that when you say you're headed somewhere, it sounds like you're going there for a purpose. You have some special purpose when you go. Let's try using it in a sentence to see. Okay, so here's the situation. Mary and Lisa are going to the cinema. Okay, why do you go to the cinema? Why do you go to the movies? To see a movie. And what if you're going to the movies with a different purpose? Fabian Perez asks, is it like I'm heading home? Yes. But the difference between saying I'm heading home and I'm going home, it sounds like if you say I'm heading home, you want to do something when you get home. There's a purpose for going home. Otherwise, just say I'm going home. So let's go back to the situation here. Lisa and Mary are going to the cinema. Now, you go to the cinema, why? To see a movie. What if you're going for a different purpose? What if you're going to meet some friends? Okay, so you have like a different purpose, something a little bit unexpected, something a little bit different. Maybe you would want to say, instead of going to the cinema, they're headed to the cinema. Okay, let's see. Or let's not, I'm saying cinema because most people understand that word, but I'm going to say movies. That's what I would probably say. They're headed to the movies. They're heading to the movies. Now let's make a when question. When are they? When are they? When are they heading? When are they heading to the movies? And here is the answer. At 7. At 7. They're heading to the movies at 7. Now let's make a why question. Why? Why are they? Why are they heading? Why are they heading to the movies? Why are they heading to the movies at 7? And the answer is to meet some friends. They're heading to the movies at 7 to meet some friends. That's their special purpose. I mean, in reality, you can use either one. They're going to the movies to meet some friends. They're heading to the movies to meet some friends. It's the same, really. But it's a good idea to use heading when there's a special mission or a special purpose at the other end, at the destination. Let's try another example. Mike is going to his son's school. Why would he go to his son's school? Maybe to pick him up. That would be a logical reason, or drop him off. But if there's some other reason, some kind of special mission, some special reason, maybe we would use headed instead. So maybe his son forgot his lunch this morning, so he needs to drop off the lunch. This could be his special purpose, something different, something a little unexpected. So let's say he's heading to his son's school, and then that sounds like he has a mission. He's heading to his son's school. Now let's make a when question with that sentence. When? When is he? When is he heading? When is he heading? When is he heading to his son's? When is he heading to his son's school? Here's the answer right now. He's heading to his son's, He's heading to his son's school right now. He's heading to his son's school right now. Okay, now let's make a why question with that sentence. Why? Why is he? 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 Why is he heading? Why is he heading to his son's? Why is he heading to his son's school right now? Why is he heading to his son's school right now? All right, and the answer is because his son forgot his lunch. He's heading to his son's school. He is heading to his son's school. He's heading to his son's school right now because his son, he's heading to his son's school right now because his son forgot his lunch. His son forgot his lunch. Because his son forgot his lunch. He's heading to his son's school right now because his son forgot his lunch. Okay, now let's just take another look at how it's being used in this paragraph. Clyde easily located the spires of the ancient rectory, and he headed toward his destination. So why are they using headed in this paragraph? What is his special purpose? Why is he going in the direction of the rectory, in the direction of the church? Because he wants to find the treasure. That's his special mission. So he's heading to the rectory. All right. Let's go on to the next paragraph here. Oh, let me take this down before I forget. Kevin Clyde had been a highway bandit. So that's the other Kevin Clyde from the Kevin Clyde who buried the treasure. They have the same name. Who sought refuge in Bell's rectory. All right. So now this is a bandit. Remember, a bandit is a type of thief. And he sought refuge. That means seek protection, look for protection in the rectory. So he was looking for protection. He was looking for a place to hide. And he found Bell's rectory. This is where this bandit, Kevin Clyde, not our main character, Kevin Clyde, the other one. The deacon there had granted him sanctuary. Oh, we're going back to the reading. Okay, so the deacon there had granted him sanctuary. But with a thief's ingratitude, Kevin couldn't bear to leave without taking the plates of silver he had in the rectory. So maybe you don't know this, depending on what culture you come from, but it used to be in the old days. I don't know if it's still like this. It was during World War II. I don't know if it is now like this anymore. But if the police or the government wanted to take you to prison, or were chasing you, you could go to the church for protection. You could ask the church to protect you, and if they wanted, they would accept you into the church, and the government was not allowed to go in there or or take you. So the church had this power where they could protect you. So that's seeking protection, seeking sanctuary, seeking refuge. That's what he was doing. So he stole something, and the police were chasing him, and he went to this church and he said, "Please, please, the police are chasing me. Please let me in." And the deacon let him in. Okay, but because Kevin is a thief, uh, Fabian Perez is asking, "Can you spell abandon or this word that I don't know?" I'm sorry. I don't remember using the word abandon. Oh, no. Bandit, like bandito. So it's bandit. It's the same word, which means thief. Bandit. So it's just bandito, but with no O at the end. Okay. Let's see. Where are we? So Kevin was a thief, and so even though this minister, this deacon, accepted him in and protected him, when he got inside, he thought, what can I take? So he started taking things that were valuable from the church. Okay, let's see. Where did we stop? I have to find my place again. Okay, so because Kevin was a thief, when he left, he stole some valuable items from the rectory. Even though the church protected him, one night he decoyed the deacon up the tower of the church and then flung him from the tower. So he actually killed this man who helped him, who saved him from the government or from the police. Okay, so Kevin went and he said, "Oh, please protect me from the police." And after that, he said, "Okay, come inside." And at some point, the thief pushed him from the tower and killed him. What a nice guy. Okay, Clyde then had packed the silver and fled. But as he raced across the grounds from the deserted tower, he had heard the unaccountable, ominous ring of the church bells, alerting the countryside. From their homes in the village, people had hurried toward the rectory, and those arriving first had seen Clive, consumed by fear, stumble and fall with his ill-gotten treasure into the well upon the grounds. Okay, so what happened was he killed the deacon. He pushed him from the tower, and who was giving him protection. And then the bells of the tower started making noise. But maybe it was by magic, because nobody was ringing the bell. Nobody was making the sound. So maybe it was a ghost. I don't know. But when the people in the village heard the bells, they came to the church. They saw the thief. And I guess he was afraid or scared. He didn't know what to do. So he threw his treasure down the well. And he jumped also down the well. Now, you're probably saying, well, what is a well? Let me show you a picture of a well. This is a well. This is where you get water from. So the village people came, and he was scared, and he threw the treasure down the well. And then he jumped down the well. Okay, searchers 100 years before had never recovered Clyde's body or the treasure. So he jumped over 100 years ago, and people looked for him and the treasure, but they could never find him after that. They never found his body. They never found the treasure. And they've been looking for 100 years. Then all of the effort to do so stopped as generations passed. And the legend grew that the ghost of the murder of the deacon, the ghost of the murdered deacon, wandered around the grounds, seeking vengeance on all those who dared disturb the treasure. So they never found the bandit, the thief. They never found the things that he was trying to steal, the treasure. And after some time, they stopped looking. They gave up. They didn't look for it anymore. And the bandit put a curse. Oh no, not the bandit. The deacon put a curse on the treasure. So he put some magic on the treasure. If you find the treasure and you take it, something bad will happen to you. That is a curse. The treasure is cursed. Okay, but Kevin Clyde was a fearless man and somewhat low on funds. He'd come here determined, and no legend would keep him from his goal. Okay, now we have an interesting expression here. I am a bit low on funds. Now, maybe you've seen this word fund before. It has to do with money. So to be low on funds means it's a very nice way of saying I don't have money. I'm low on funds. That's a very nice way of saying I don't have any money. And you can say I'm a bit low on funds. So that's a nice way of saying I don't have any money. Let's practice using this phrase. I'm a bit low on funds. Here is a situation. Mary needs a car, and it's difficult for her to take the bus to work, and walking is not an option because her office is very far away. Now, let's make a why not buy car question. Why you not buy car question? How will you make a why you not buy car question? Why don't you? Why don't you? Why don't you? Why don't you buy a? Why don't you buy a? Why don't you buy a? Why don't you buy a car? Why don't you buy a car? Now, let's make this into a reported speech question. So John asked her. He asked her. Okay, now we have why doesn't she buy a car? Why doesn't she buy a car? First, let's change that from a question to a statement. So question form, why doesn't she buy a car? Statement form, why she doesn't buy a car. He asked her why she doesn't buy a car. He asked her why she doesn't buy a car. Now, because it's reported speech, we should change this from the present to the past. He asked her why she didn't buy a car. He asked her why she didn't. He asked her why she didn't buy a car. Okay, let's see. And this is how she answered. She said, because I don't have any money. I don't have enough money. Okay, but now let's make that sound a little bit nicer. Instead of saying, because I don't have any money, you can say, because I'm a bit low on funds. I'm a bit low on funds. Now let's change this to reported speech. She said she is a bit low on funds. She said she is a bit low. She said she's a bit low. She said she's a bit low on funds. But because it's reported speech, we should probably change the verb to be, she is, to the past, she was. She said she was. She said she was a bit low on funds. She didn't have enough money. Okay, let's try a different situation. Here is another situation. Mark wants to go on vacation with Mary, and he invites her on a special vacation. But Mary says, nope, can't do it. She doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to go on vacation. She doesn't want to go on vacation with Mark. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to go on. She doesn't want to go on vacation with him. She doesn't want to go on vacation with him. with him, with him, with him. She doesn't want to go on vacation with him. Now, let's make a why she doesn't want question. How would you do that? Why she doesn't want? Why? Why doesn't she? Why doesn't she want to? Why doesn't she wanna? Why doesn't she want to go on vacation? Why doesn't she want to go on vacation with him? Why doesn't she want to go on vacation with him? Why doesn't she want to go on vacation with him? Now, let's make this into a reported speech question. He asked her. He asked her why. Now, the question is, why doesn't she want to? That's the question form. Why doesn't she want to? Now, let's change this to a statement form. Why she doesn't want to. Why he asked her why she doesn't want to. It's not a question anymore. It's a statement. He asked her why she doesn't want to go on vacation. He asked her why she doesn't want to go on vacation with him. He asked her why she doesn't want to go on vacation with him. And how do you think she answered? She said, because I don't have very much money. I don't have very much money. It sounds a little bit nicer if you say it like this. I am a bit low on funds. I am a bit low. I'm a bit low. I'm a bit low on funds. I'm a bit low on funds. Now let's make this reported speech. She said she is. She said she's. She said she is a bit low. She said she's a bit low. She said she's a bit low. She said she's a bit low on funds. Now, because this is reported speech, we should change the present to the past. She said she was. She said she was a bit low. She was a bit low. She was a bit low. She said she was a bit low on funds. Just a nice way of saying I don't have enough money. Okay, well, let's keep reading. Let's move on with our story here. Oh, let's see. So Kevin Clyde stood beside the well. Remember the well, that's the place where you get water from. Watching the pump expel the sluggish water. He became excited as sludge and slime came up, indicating the well was nearly dry. As the last water was drained away, the pump stopped suddenly, and there was no sound in the quiet afternoon. Okay, well, let's just take a look at what sludge and slime are. Let me find a picture of sludge and slime. Let's see, sludge. Okay, so sludge is this kind of water. It's like dirty water, but let's look at a picture of it. So this is sludge. It's like dirty water. So this is what you would expect at the bottom of a well or the bottom of a lake. It's like thick water with dirt. Now let's take a look at slime. Because there was sludge and slime. This is slime. Slime. Oh, these aren't very good. Let's see. Water slime. Let's do that. Let's see if we get something better. The problem is it's a popular toy for kids. Something like this consistency is slime. Slimy. This is... Wait, where is this? Slimy. That's slime. Okay. Whoops. Wait a minute. All right. I've got too many windows open and I'm confusing myself. Let me find my place again. Where am I? Okay. Oh no. Oh, here it is. Okay. I closed it. I accidentally closed what I was reading, so now I have to find Sorry, but I have to find where I was. Okay, where's sludge and slime? Uh, almost there. All right. Kevin bent over, trying to peer downward, look downward into the well's dark depths. And as he did so, for a moment, a chill wind seemed to blow over him, eclipsing the warmth of the sun and making the day seem suddenly gloomy and foreboding. The cold seemed to pierce his bones, but then the feeling passed as though some unseen presence had gone on its way, and it seemed to Clyde that he must have imagined it. So, in this paragraph, as Kevin is looking down the well to see if he can find the bottom, suddenly he feels a cold wind coming up, and he felt very cold, and everything around him looked very strange, very scary. And that feeling went away very quickly. And Kevin Clyde thought, oh, I guess it's my imagination. But I think it could be the ghost of the deacon and the cursed treasure. Quickly, he threw the rope he purchased over the side of the well. Carefully, he knotted the end with the edges of to the well, where a ledge was formed. Then, taking a shovel with him, he swung over himself and over the edge. So now he's going down the well with the rope. Okay, so all of that means is he put the rope in the well, and now he's going down to the bottom of the well. As Kevin climbed down, the stench of the slime-covered walls came to him. Stench is a word that means a horrible smell, a bad smell. So when he says that the stench of the walls, the slime-covered walls, came to him, it means that the inside of the well smelled very bad, really horrible. Once, halfway in his descent, he seemed to sense the presence of someone up above, and he glanced back for a moment. It seemed to him that against the sky, bending over the well and peering down at him, looking down at him, was a man's head. The skin stretched slightly over the bony skull, with the eyes gleaming with some mad desire. Okay, all that means is he was going down the well and he got a strange feeling that there was someone up there. But he wasn't sure because he was very far down. So he was looking up and he thought maybe he saw a face, a head. Okay, but then he said, okay, maybe it's my imagination. I say, Kevin called, who's there? What is it that you want? But only his voice echoed back from the stone walls. There was no other reply. The head seemed to vanish, even as he watched, and Kevin shivered with some nameless dread. The whole adventure was causing him to imagine things, he finally decided. Must be more careful, he muttered now. I'm talking to ghosts. So Kevin yelled, hey, who's up there? Who are you? But there was nobody there. Nobody answered. So he thought, oh, maybe I'm just crazy. At last, the bottom of the well was reached, and he stepped onto the oozing slime that shifted slightly under his feet, under his weight. But it seemed firm enough to hold him. He estimated that the passing decades would have forced the bandit's body and treasure somewhat deeply into the well bottom, and he started digging. So he finally reached the bottom of the well, and he was standing in the ground, and he thought that it had been so many years since the bandit, the thief, and the treasure had come down the well, that it's probably underground a little bit. So he started to dig with his shovel. He had not turned over many shovelfuls of the sticky mud when he discovered that bits of rotted cloth were coming free. Elated by this evidence, he dug faster, and soon his shovel struck something hard. So he's digging, and he finds some clothes, some old clothes, and he gets elated, which means very, very happy, and starts digging more. Quickly, Kevin uncovered the object and picked it up, and it was round and hard, and he switched on his flashlight to see what it was. Then a shudder ran through him. In the reflected glow, he saw he was holding the skull of the ancient murderer, the bone gleaming lightly beneath the mud, sticking to it, and then from the top of the well, a dribble of maniacal laughter seemed to drift down upon him. It's a lot of complicated language in here. Yet when Kevin gazed skyward again, he could see nothing. Okay, let's put that in regular terms. So he found a skull, and if you don't know what a skull is, let me show you a picture. That's kind of an important word in this story. Let's put this up here. This is a skull. Oh, that's kind of bad luck that it's aligned like that. That's a skull. Okay. Whoops. Where am I? Every single time I switch to a different page, I lose where I am. I have to come up with a system. I need a system. Okay, so he found a skull. And now he's looking at the skull, and again, he hears something like laughing from up above when he's looking at the skull. Despite his fear, Kevin resumed digging. At least, he thought, this proves that the legend is true. All right, now let's practice using the word despite, because that's a pretty useful common word. Let's see here. Despite. I always like to explain that despite means something like doesn't matter, who cares, not important, okay? So whatever follows despite means, oh, I don't care about this. This thing is not important, whatever it is. I don't care about this thing. Let's see. Let's try using this in a sentence to see what I mean. Okay, so Mary and John wanted to go to their favorite restaurant. The problem is that it would take 2 hours driving to arrive at their favorite restaurant. Okay, that's pretty far, a pretty long way to go just to go to your favorite restaurant. The thing is, they didn't care. It didn't matter to them that it was very far. That was not important. They just wanted to go to their favorite restaurant. This is a situation where we can use despite, but we have one problem. Despite is a preposition, and after a preposition, you can only use a noun. You can't put a sentence. The restaurant is far away is a sentence, and we need a noun after despite. You can't say despite the restaurant is far away. You can't put a sentence after a preposition. You have to use a noun. So we have to fix this problem. So our sentence is, the restaurant is far away. What is the verb in that sentence? The restaurant is far away. Is. How do you make the verb to be into a noun? What is the noun form of the verb to be? It's being. 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 So being far away is the noun form of is far away. We can say, despite being far away, despite being far away. Now let me find my problem here. Okay, so despite being far away, they went to their favorite restaurant. Despite being far away, they went to their favorite restaurant. That means doesn't matter it was far away. They didn't care about that. That was not important. They went to their favorite restaurant anyway. That's how you use despite. Doesn't matter it was far away. Who cares it was far away? They went to their favorite restaurant. Despite being far away, they went to their favorite restaurant. Let's try another example using despite. Here is another situation. Lisa worked very hard all week, and by Friday she was very tired. But her friends invited her to a fun day downtown on Saturday. Okay, now we want to say she didn't care she was very tired. It didn't matter to her that she was very tired. It was more important to go with her friends. But we have a problem because if we want to use despite for this, we can't use a sentence. We can't say, despite she was tired. That doesn't work. So we have to change this into a noun. What is the noun form of the verb to be? Being. We can say, despite being tired. That means, it doesn't matter she was tired. She didn't care about that. She wanted to spend time with her friends. Despite being tired, she went downtown with her friends on Saturday. Who cares? She didn't care she was tired. She wanted to spend time with her friends. Despite being tired, she went downtown with her friends on Saturday. But now let's take a look and see how it was used in the paragraph. Despite his fear, Kevin resumed digging. Okay, so what that means is he was afraid, but he didn't care. He continued to dig because remember, he saw the skull. Oh no, a skull. And he was very afraid. But despite being afraid, despite his fear, he continued to dig. It didn't matter he was afraid. He didn't care. He continued to dig. All right, so let's see. All right, let's continue. Averting his eyes from the heap of human bones that had accompanied the treasure, Kevin packed the silver into the sack that he brought along. Then, dragging its weight behind him, he started the long climb up. It was close to dusk when Kevin stepped out onto the grounds. Long shadows were playing across the neglected shrubbery, and he stumbled as he made his way back to the path. So he managed to leave the well, exit the well. He had his treasure with him, and he was walking away from the rectory. He was going back maybe to the train station. Kevin Clyde had... Oh, wait, let me get rid of this. Whoops, that's not right. Kevin Clyde had hurried just a little way down the path when he came upon the small graveyard he had to pass. Now, just in case you don't know what a graveyard is, let me just show you. Graveyard. It's kind of important to the story. This is a graveyard. So you can say cemetery, you can say graveyard. It's the same thing. That's a graveyard. So he's walking away from the church, and now he is at a graveyard. Okay. Let's see. It loomed, suddenly dressed in summer clothes of some other age. Oh, wait a minute. I've lost my place again. So he was halfway through it when a figure rose to greet him. So he gets to the graveyard and he has to walk through it to get back to the train station. And he was halfway, he was in the middle of the graveyard when something rose, something came up from the ground to greet him, to say hello. Let's see. It loomed, dressed in summer clothes of some other age, from behind the tombstone, and even as Kevin Clyde stared horrifiedly into those burning, tormented eyes, he knew he had been stopped at the grave of the murdered deacon. So he's walking through the graveyard. He's in the middle of the graveyard, and suddenly something comes up from behind the tombstone. Let me show you what a tombstone is. This is not a very appropriate story for the day before Christmas, is it? Oh well. I was thinking about doing a Christmas story. I was looking for some. Then I thought, maybe it's too late. It's already Christmas, so maybe not. Let's see. This is a tombstone. So it said something raised from behind, something came up from behind the tombstone. And he realized it was the deacon's tombstone, the person who cursed the treasure. Okay. So he stared horrifiedly into those burning, tormented eyes. He knew that he had been stopped at the grave of the murdered deacon. So he's passing through the cemetery, the graveyard, and this thing comes up from the ground. And he knew it was the deacon's grave, and that that was the ghost of the deacon. Okay. Back, back, the creature whispered menacingly, and against his will, Kevin Clyde retreated, stumbling the sack of silver plates, making difficult his steps. So he starts walking. He doesn't want to go back in that direction, but he's afraid of this ghost thing, so he starts moving back even though he doesn't want to. And it was difficult because he was carrying the treasure. This specter paced toward him relentlessly, forcing him ever backward, until with a cry that was torn from his throat, Kevin Clyde turned and fled blindly towards Bell's rectory, dragging the sack behind him. So he's running back to the church for protection, ironically, trying to run away from the ghost, and he still is carrying this very heavy treasure with him. As he ran, he felt the presence of the evil spirit behind him. The wind in the night had risen to a screaming sound, and suddenly rain pelted his back. But above the storm, he heard the others' robes flapping as he followed. So he's trying to run away from the ghost, and he's running back to the rectory where he stole the treasure from. Into Bell's rectory and up the worn, dust-laden stone steps leading to the tower. Kevin raced in his mad flight with only cobwebs barring his way, and the creature from the graveyard followed behind him quickly. Okay, so the ghost is chasing him, and he's running. He actually runs into the tower where the deacon was murdered. So now he's running up the stairs of the tower. Let's see. Gasping. Gasping, Kevin Clyde reached the church tower as he pushed open the doors and let out the bells in front of him. And let out to the tower bells in front of him. started pealing madly, deafeningly, although no human hand was ringing them. So again, the bells in the tower begin to ring, but there's nobody pulling the string. There's nobody making the bell ring. So it's kind of mysterious. Why are the bells ringing? Now, there's an interesting adjective in this paragraph, which is deafening. Deafening. And maybe you know the word deaf, which is how you describe someone who doesn't have the ability to hear. If someone is deaf, it means they can't hear. Their ears don't work for some reason. But this adjective deafening means something is very loud. It's so loud you can't hear anything else. So you could have deafening music. That's music that's so loud that you can't hear people talking. Like I know in Mexico, they like to play music very loud. So if you're in a club or a bar or something, you can't hear other people talking. It's deafening music. Let's practice using this word deafening. Here is a statement. The concert was a great success. Okay. Now let's make a how you know question. How you know concert great success? How will you make that question? How will you ask that question? How do you know? How do you know that? How do you know that the concert was a great success? How do you know that the concert was a great success? Now here's the answer. Because when it finished, the applause was so loud you couldn't hear any other thing. You couldn't hear people talking. You couldn't hear people screaming. All you can hear is the applause, the clapping. Okay, so we can say the applause was deafening. The applause was deafening. So I know that the concert was a success because the applause was deafening. It was so loud you couldn't hear any other thing. Fabian Perez says, like noisy? Well, the difference between noisy and deafening is that noisy, maybe you can hear other things. It's noisy just means a lot of noise, but deafening means it's extremely loud. So loud you can't hear other things. So deafening is much stronger than noisy. It's a much, much stronger word. Let's try another example. Here's a situation. Mary hates taking the subway. Mary hates taking the subway, the metro. Let's make a why Mary take subway question. Why? Why does she? Why does she hate? Why does she hate taking? Why does she hate taking the subway? Why does she hate taking the subway? And here's the reason. Because the sound of the train is so loud, you can't hear other people. You can't talk. You can't have a conversation on the subway. The train is too loud. It makes too much noise. It's impossible to hear anything else. The train makes a deafening sound. The train makes a deafening sound. She hates taking the subway because the train makes a deafening sound. She hates taking the subway because the train makes a deafening sound. Okay, now let's continue. Kevin Clyde could go no further. His back to the stone ledge of the tower, he turned to face the specter. Specter is another word for like a ghost. But it's not so common now. Just use ghost. Let's see. The bells rang loudly in his ears as the awful creature closed in on him, as the awful creature became closer and closer and closer. So the creature, the ghost, was closing in on him, getting closer and closer. Letting go of his treasure, he grappled madly with the thing. He fought with the thing, the rotted flesh, the cloth. So actually, it was more like a zombie than a ghost because he was able to, he was fighting with it. Uh, he felt himself lifted with some maniacal force and flung from the church tower. So the ghost, the zombie, threw him off the tower. Kevin Clyde gave one last tortured scream as he plummeted downward. Then he knew no more. Now let's talk about this word, plummet, which is a pretty useful word in some situations. This word plummet means go down, but it means go down fast and it means go down big. And so, if you, I just want to pull up a picture here. So, for example, if you have to use English for work and you're talking about a chart or a graph, when the arrow goes down like this, it goes down big and it goes down fast. That is a plummet. That's what plummet means. It means it goes down big and it goes down fast. So you can say the profits plummeted, and that's this motion, okay? That's how you use plummet. That's what plummet means. Let's practice using this. Let me see. Let's go back to here. Here's a situation. Mike felt extremely uncomfortable. Mike felt extremely uncomfortable. Let's make a when question. When Mike feel uncomfortable? When did he feel extremely uncomfortable? Now here's the answer. When the temperature went down very quickly, went down very big and very quickly. And what word can we use? Right up here, right up here. What word can we use that means go down very quickly and very big? Plummet. When the temperature plummeted. He felt extremely uncomfortable when the temperature plummeted. And that means go down big and go down very quickly. Did that ever happen to you? Maybe it's a summer, during the summer, it could be very hot. And so you don't wear a jacket or a sweater, but then sometimes at night, suddenly the temperature goes down very big and very quickly. You can say the temperature plummeted. Let's try another situation. Here's another situation. John lost a lot of money. That's our situation. John lost a lot of money. Let's make a when question with John lost a lot of money. When did John, when did he lose? When did he lose a lot of, when did he lose a lot of money? When did he lose a lot of money? Okay, and here's the answer. When the value of stock, like investing, when the value of the stock went down very big, very quickly. So what do we use? What do we use for the value of stock went down very big, very quickly? The value of stock plummeted. He lost a lot of money when the value of the stock plummeted. Okay, now let's just go back and see how they use plummet in this paragraph. Kevin Clyde gave one last tortured scream as he plummeted downward. So he was on top of the tower. He was way up high on top of the tower, and the zombie or the ghost threw him over the tower, and then he plummeted. He went down fast and he went down big. All right. let's see. It was the ringing of the bells that alerted the town's people, and they came out of their houses and huddled, listening to the awesome sound filling the night. The rain had stopped. The moon was out. A few claimed that as they watched for a moment, outlined against the moonlight, was some vague, formless creature dragging a sack which he dropped down the old well before he disappeared. But no one dared. Uh, I have a typo here. No one dared something. The Bell's rectory that night. So in this paragraph, they're saying because the sound of the bells, the church bells, the townspeople came to see what was happening at the church. And some people claimed they saw a figure drop the bag of silver back down the well. Now let's talk about this word claim, which is a pretty interesting word, actually. Very common. It's used quite a bit. So it's good to know this word. Let's see. Claim is very similar to the word say, but there's one big difference. When you use claim, meaning say, because claim can mean other things too, but when you use claim, meaning say, it means, well, the person said it, but I don't know if it's true. I haven't verified it. I don't know if I believe this person. It's used. So this verb to claim is used all the time when you're reading the news. You read a news story and say, John claims the robber was wearing red. That means he said it, but we don't know if that's true. That's just what he said. We didn't verify it. So you have to be careful when you're using claim, because in a way you're saying maybe this person isn't telling the truth. Maybe they're lying. Or at least maybe they're mistaken. They don't know what they're talking about. So let's see. Where do I have? Well, let's just look at a situation. So imagine Mary has a meeting and she calls and says, "Oh, sorry, I'm going to be late." So because there's a lot of traffic. Now, if we say Mary says there's a lot of traffic, that's just a fact. This is what she told us. But if you say Mary claims there's a lot of traffic, that means, well, that's what she said, but I don't really believe her. You know, maybe she overslept or something like that. So you have to be careful because you're in a way you're saying Mary's lying. She's not telling the truth, or I don't think she's telling the truth. Maybe it's true, but we don't know. Okay, let's practice using claim. Here is a situation. John has to finish a big project. It must be finished by Friday. Now, people think that Mike is very unreliable. They don't trust him. So when people ask him, will he finish the project? Will it be ready on Friday? He says, don't worry. It's fine. I'll do it. Friday, it will be ready. But people say, I don't think so. I don't trust him. I don't really think he's going to finish it by Friday. Okay. But so let's take this sentence. The project will be ready by Friday. And let's make it into reported speech. The project will be ready by Friday. He said that the project will be ready. Now in reported speech, you change will to would. He said that the project would be ready. He said that the project would be ready by Friday. Now let's use claim instead of said. And that means he said it, but I don't think it, I don't know. I'm not sure about it. He claimed the project would be ready by Friday. He claimed the project would be ready by Friday. That means he said it, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. It probably won't. Okay, let's try another example here. John bought a new phone. So he goes to the store, he buys a new phone, but he's very unhappy. He's very upset because the phone doesn't work properly. So he returns it to the store. He takes it back to the store. And the shop owner looks at it. He says, "Oh, it's just a little problem with the battery. The phone is perfect. It's just a little problem with the battery." That's what the owner said. Okay, let's change this to reported speech. The owner said that it was just a little problem, or let's say is. The owner said that it is just a little problem with the battery. Okay. Now we have to probably change is to was because we're doing reported speech. I just want to take you through the whole process. So the owner said that it was just a little problem with the battery. The owner said that it was just a little problem with the battery. Now, John doesn't trust the owner. He thinks that this is a bad guy. He doesn't believe the owner when the owner says, "Oh, it's just a little problem with the battery." So instead of saying said, we can use claim. And it means, well, he said it, but I don't know. Maybe it's not true. He claimed that it was just a little problem with the battery. He claimed it was just a little problem with the battery. Okay, now let's take another look at how they use claim in the paragraph. A few people claimed that as they watched, for a moment, outlined against the moonlight with some vague formless creature dragging the sack which he dropped down the old well. Let's put that in simpler language. A few people claimed they saw the ghost. What does that mean? If you say, instead of saying a few people said they saw the ghost, a few people claimed they saw the ghost. The difference is when you say claimed, it means, well, they said it, but that doesn't sound, I don't believe it. I don't think it's true. It's probably not true. There's no such thing as ghosts. Okay, let's finish this up. We're almost done. The next morning, the searchers found Kevin Clyde. He was lying in a broken heap. Heap is like a pile. Upon the ground beneath the tower. At first, the scoffers thought that in a moment of madness, the stranger had flung himself from the tower. But then they found in his hand a rotted bit of cloth, such as would belong to an ancient garment. Okay, so the people, the next day, they went to the church and they found Kevin Clyde, and he was dead. And at first, they thought he committed suicide. He jumped from the tower. But then they saw in his hand a piece of cloth, a piece of old cloth. From old clothes that people don't wear anymore. And that made them reconsider. Oh, maybe he didn't jump. Maybe he was pushed. And then they entered the rectory. In the disturbed dust, they saw the clues of Kevin Clyde's mad flight and of the thing that was chasing him up. So when they went inside the building and when they went into the rectory, they could see, because of the dust, they could see the footprints of two people, not just one. And up the tower, there were two sets of footprints. But there was just one set of footprints going down. The searchers followed the prints in the rain-soaked earth, where they led to the well, and then to the graveyard, and then to the plot where the legend said the murdered deacon was buried. So they followed the footprints all the way from the church, all the way back to the graveyard, and the prints stopped at the grave of the deacon. They then knew the curse of Bell's rectory indeed was true, and the deacon's ghost had had his revenge. Okay, well, that's the end of The Curse of the Bell's Rectory, and thank you for sticking around for the entire class. And I'll be cutting these up into little lessons that we can use, little videos that you can practice if you want later. And I will see you again soon with another short story. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.